Hi everyone. I'm back from vacation. I had a wonderful time. Went to South Carolina and to Georgia and just explored around. Didn't really do much beach. I'm pale, but had a good time. I'll take a minute and explain this hair today. That's going on. I've been wearing wigs for a long time. But I've had numb hands and arms and legs for since June of last year. And medicine is finally working, and praise God, I have got feeling back in my hands and my legs. So I'm able to do my hair again. So this is my hair just growing out because, I've had it shaved for a long time to wear under wigs. So anyway, and then I had a mammogram at 6:45 this morning and kind of was in a rush, so this is what it is today. So anyway, I know y'all aren't on here to care about my hair, but I thought I should explain why I don't have on a wig. So anyway, today we're getting into Ecclesiastes. I'm going to read just a few verses out of one, but my main focus tonight is going to be two, and we will read all of two. I hope I shouldn't run really over what I normally do, but so in one, he says, vanity of all vanities, all is vanity. A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. Blowing toward the south, then turning toward the north, the wind continues swirling around. And on its circular course, the wind returns. All the rivers flow into the sea, yet the sea is not full. I have seen all the works which have been done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity, striving after the wind. I set my mind to know wisdom and to know madness and folly, and I realize that this also is striving after the wind, because in much wisdom there is much grief, and increasing knowledge results in increased pain. So, first off, he's trying to really just figure out what the purpose in life is. Vanity, the Hebrew word for vanity implies something that's fleeting, like a breath or a vapor. And so he's saying, this is all. So what happens? Like a generation comes and a generation goes. So he's realizing that the earth, everything still stays the same. It's just people will come and go. The sea still does what the sea always does. The wind circulates as always. So nothing changes, except for the people coming and going. And so he's on this path to find, what is his purpose? What's he here for? So I'm going to jump into 2. I'm going to read it, and then I'll go back to some of the discussion. Okay, so it says, I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure. So enjoy yourself, and behold, it too was futility. I said of laughter, it was madness, and of pleasure, what does it accomplish? I explored with my mind how to stimulate my body with wine, while my mind was guiding me wisely, and how to take hold of folly until I could see what good there is for the sons of men to do under heaven the few years of their lives. I enlarged my works. I built houses for myself. I planted vineyards for myself. I made gardens and parks for myself. I planted trees in them and all kinds of fruit trees. I made ponds of water for myself from which to irrigate a forest of growing trees. Excuse me. I bought male and female slaves, and I had homeborn slaves. Also, I possessed flocks and herds larger than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. Also, I collected for myself silver and gold and the treasures of kings and provinces. I provided for myself male and female singers and the pleasures of men and many concubines. Then I became great and increased more than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. My wisdom also stood by me. All that my eyes desired, I did not refuse them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure. Because all of my labor, and this was my reward for all of the labor. Thus, I considered all my activities which hands had done, and the labor which I exerted, and beloved, all was vanity, and striving after the wind, there was no profit under the sun. So I'm going to stop there for a minute. And so he seeks out to explore, it says everything that's been done under heaven. The more that he found, he increased in knowledge, but the more in the knowledge that he gained, the more in grief that he had, because I think he's realizing that it's futile, that there's really, there's probably not much point when you look at all that he has, which I'm going into detail. I went back into Kings to break down, because, he talks about all of his riches and what he's got. And first, his wisdom. I did see that it said God gave Solomon the breadth of mind like sand on the seashore, and that nobody was any wiser. So that explains why people come from all over to hear how wise Solomon was. And they would listen to him, and he would tell, his proverbs and his songs. But anyway, he also, it was almost like he had a checklist of things that he had to do, and almost like an order to it. So, he's gaining his wisdom. He, laughter didn't fill him. Then drinking, he tried drinking. Then he tried, building houses in the temple. He planted vineyards. He created parks and ponds. And it wasn't like all this was done in a day, and he woke up one day and did this, and then the next day he did that. It was like the ponds of Solomon took 22 years to build and create. So that's, and that came after a lot of the other things. But the funny thing is, Solomon was only 20 when he became king, and he died at around 55. So that was a lot of accomplishment, with his life. He was a busy man, but he also had the slaves and the workers to do that. So I read that his slaves, he had 30,000 laborers, 70,000 transporters, and 80,000 hewers of stone. His wealth was approximately, in like our money today, was like $1 billion a year. He had income coming in. He had, flocks. He had entertainment. He had sex. He had 700 wives, 300 concubines. So there's 1,000 women involved in Solomon's life. So I can't even imagine. He threw parties. In Kings 4, verses 22, it talks about like what one party would be. So for one day, he would need 300 bushels of flour, 600 bushels of meal, 40 oxen, 100 sheep, deer and fowl, and that was to feed about 10 to 20,000 people. He had 40,000 stalls of horses and 12,000 horsemen. So basically, this man had everything anyone could desire and all the wisdom that anybody could want. So, I even wonder why is he pondering this? Why is he not content? Why has he got to look for the meaning of life instead of, he's not enjoying what he's got. He's just constantly searching. It's kind of like, when Brian says, I'm not content with my house because I'm always wanting to do, fix it up. Kind of that same thing. So I guess he has a problem with contentment as well. So in verse 12, he says, I turn to consider wisdom, madness, and folly. For what will a man do who will come after a king except what has already been done? So he's already saying, like he's setting it up here to say, no one's going to do anything better than I am. I've already done it all. I've seen it all, had it all, done it all, and who can do it better? So that's what he's going down this path. He saw wisdom excels folly as light excels dark. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but a fool walks in darkness. And yet I know that one fate befalls them both. So he's saying, whether you're rich or you're poor or happy or sad, we're all going to die. We all are going to face the same death. There's really no way to escape that. And I think, he must be getting older here and he's starting to realize that. And so I want to read one thing about facing death. I've seen a post. This was this was a long time ago, and I'm not a basketball fan. I do not follow this guy, Scottie Pippen. But in 2024, he posted on Instagram and he said, as you get older, you'll realize that a $30,000 watch and a $30 watch both tell the same time. A Gucci wallet and a Target wallet hold the same amount of money. A $10 million house and a $100,000 house will hold the same loneliness. A Ford will drive you as far as a Bentley. True happiness is not found in materialistic things. It comes from love and laughter found within each other. Stay humble. The holes dug for us in the ground are all the same size. So he pretty much he sounds just like Solomon here in Ecclesiastes. He's pretty much saying, you know, that material things don't matter. They're not going to fulfill you or satisfy you. And which he's saying, not Solomon, but he's saying, you know, what's important is the people around you. You know, and the sad thing is that, and it is true, the holes that dug are the same size, but most people will end up going to their grave and not know God. Or should I say maybe that God won't know them. They might think they know God, but he says in Matthew 7:23, I never knew you. Depart from me, those who practice lawlessness. So even the people that think they know God, but they're not obeying God, he's not going to recognize. So I want to get back to Solomon. Where did I leave off here? He said, then I said to myself, as the fate of a fool, it will also befall me. Why then have I been extremely wise? So I said to myself, this too is vanity. For there is no lasting remembrance of the wise man as with the fool, inasmuch as in the coming days all will be forgotten, and how the wise man and the fool alike die. So I hated life, for the work which had been done under the sun was grievous to me, because everything is futility and striving after the wind. Thus I hated all the fruit of the labor for which I had labored under the sun, for I must leave it to a man who will come after me. And who knows whether he will be a wise man or a fool. So there, and he does say that we have no control over basically who it's going to, that it's all vanity. Well, you know, he did leave it behind, and a fool did inherit his wealth, and it was his son, Rehoboam. And he was a fool because he wouldn't listen to elders, and within 5 years of his reign, all of Solomon's wealth was stolen from the king of Egypt. So he was right to dread who it was going to, because he knew it was going to a fool, and it did. You know, we all kind of think about what will happen to our stuff after we pass, and a lot of us have make wills and put things in trust. You hope that when you leave it to your children, that they're going to take care of it and that it will take care of them. So I guess, you know, we worry about that and focus on that. And I don't know, maybe, I mean, it's probably wise, but again, it's probably like Solomon saying, it's all futile. It's going to happen. We have no control. Once we're dead, it's not going to matter what happens to our money that we had, or our house that we built, or the cars we drove. None of it's going to matter to us anymore. I mean, the kids may enjoy it, and I guess when we're in heaven, we're not going to really care what they do with it. So anyway, back to my reading. So therefore, I completely despaired. Oh, wait a minute. I already read that. Let me get to where I was. For what does a man get in all his labor and all his striving for which he labors under the sun? Because all his days his task is painful and grievous. Even at night his mind does not rest. This too is vanity. There is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink and tell himself that his labor is good. And that makes you think about, you know, when you've done something, you know, I've decorated, I want people to see it. I'll take pictures and send it to people, or like our preacher said the other night, you know, after you cut grass, the men stand around with their arms crossed. They look at it saying, yeah, it looks good. They're proud of it. It's kind of exactly what he's talking here. exactly that. So who can eat and who can have enjoyment without him? I skipped. It says, there is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink and tell himself his labor is good. This also I have seen, that it is from the hand of God. For who can eat and who can have enjoyment without him? For to a person who is good in his sight, he has given wisdom and knowledge and joy, while to the sinner he has given the task of gathering and collecting, so that he may give to one who is good in God's sight. This too is vanity and striving after the wind. So that is the end of chapter 2. Let me go back here through my notes. So no one, back to, talking about Solomon when he was talking about, basically, he's great. No one can do better than Solomon. He's had it all, done it all, and he knew it all. And he was very wise, but he had a very big ego. So in this chapter alone, he said the word I 36 times. So not God gave me this, God blessed me with this, God, it was nothing about God. It was I built, I made, I planted, I raised, so none of that credit was to God. So I think, first off, we all need to realize that everything in this world is from God. And it's because of him that we have jobs and that we have the ability to work and to earn and, to survive. It's with him. So, and it's funny that the key word about this book is vanity. And I think vanity is what Solomon is, a vain person, because he thinks it's all about him and what he can do. So the last point that I want to talk is that this book shows the emptiness of trying to do life without God. Being apart from God it's depressing and discouraging. You see, he's lost his happiness, he's lost his joy, and that the only joy that we can have is when God's included in our life, and that what we are doing, we're doing to serve him, and his purpose is greater than our purpose. And that, I think, is what this life is about. That's what we're here for. And so that true fulfillment is really only found in God alone and serving him. That's kind of where I had that going this week. And man, I read faster than I thought, because this really didn't take that long. But I will be back again next Thursday. And I guess if you got anything out of this, please share it and invite people to join it. And hopefully we'll continue this. Anyway, thanks and see you later. Bye.